All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Look at PayPal. Man, PayPal just dumping down here. I'll probably add to PayPal here, realistically. I'm not going to sit on too big of a position in PayPal, but I might add to this. We'll see how it goes. Again, it's a very small position, so it doesn't matter too much, but I think I can probably add down here. But fix my average a little bit. Let me see if I can get a little bit. Don't judge me for adding to PayPal. It's a small trade. I just added 10 shares. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, PayPal earnings. It probably is a broken stock. But that's all right. Again, it's PayPal. Palantir, again, huge beat. Here's Palantir right now. Look at Palantir in the middle. Beat Q4. Revenue increased 70%. Palantir up to 160s here. I don't think most people are shocked that Palantir beat earnings. I don't think it's a shock that Palantir beat. And, yeah, we got a lot of other stuff. So, again, this week's labor report is officially delayed. So, this week's labor report, this week's JOLTS report, we were supposed to get JOLTS job openings today. We are not getting JOLTS job openings today. They are no longer coming out today. Same thing with the payroll report on Friday. Now, the Department of Labor is who releases jobless claims, so we still should get jobless claims. But yeah, NFP data delayed, JOLTS delayed. I think the government will reopen today, though, or tomorrow at the very least. We also have the FHFA Director Polt saying a strong chance Fannie Mae and Freddie IPOs happen. Also not happen. So I guess there's a good chance they do or don't happen. Ready to go on Fannie Mae and Freddie IPOs if the president wants that. Jim Cramer just tweeted, PayPal's numbers were disappointing. Understand Alex Chris was disappointing. Now Enrique Lohr is the CEO and Bruce Broussard, late of Humana, is now CEO of HP. This one's hard to process. Big miss. But again, PayPal posted 123 EPS. They expected 128, so a miss in EPS. Net revenue was 8.68 billion. They expected 8.79 billion. So a little bit better revenue, worse EPS. Quarter one adjusted EPS, mid to single digit decline. And yeah, it's not reacting well to this for PayPal. Really big fall here, inch-wise. This is not a small drop. This is like a 20% drop or more for PayPal right now. So PayPal's looking rough. Again, Palantir's up good on earnings. Yeah. Gold and silver. Here's silver. Silver's back up to 80s though. So silver rebounding. Silver fell all the way back down to 70 basically. It's back up to 87s. So silver's doing good. Gold is back up to almost $5,000 an ounce. And I think that's a big psychological level to pay attention to. Yeah. I mean, whether you like no data is up to you. I don't like no data, but I also don't think this shutdown is going to last. So I think the data, most of it, is going to get delayed about a week. So I think we'll probably get the payroll report next week. I think we'll probably get the JOLTS report next week. We also have CPI next week, so I think that's when we're gonna. Get a lot of these reports. Again, Bitcoin still basically. I mean, Bitcoin's a little bit higher today if we take a look at it. Bitcoin's a little higher. Yeah, like here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's at 78s, which is honestly better than it was. Right, Bitcoin at 78s is honestly better than it was. Here's Bitcoin. Again, very sideways. Yeah, very sideways for the last few hours. Really for the last few days. Here's Bitcoin over the last 3 days since the weekend has been basically sideways. So we'll see if we can break out of this range for Bitcoin. Yeah, pretty sideways. Not a lot of movement here, but it is under 80,000. I'm watching 80,000. Shocked Intel is running again. Another cup of lemonade. Yeah, maybe. What's up with the stretch charts? Morning. Which charts? Yeah. And again, Palantir and PayPal right now. Look at Palantir on the right. Palantir beat really big, and PayPal, man, it's falling down. We added some to this just now. See if we bounce back if it helps us. But yeah, missing earnings for PayPal. beat in earnings for Palantir. And then this afternoon, we do have Supermicro and AMD earnings. Supermicro AMD earnings coming out. We have an Iranian diplomatic source saying Tehran's view regarding Istanbul talks is, quote, neither optimistic nor pessimistic. Sam Altman says he hopes to remain a gigantic customer of NVIDIA for years. And, yeah. We had TransDigm Group Incorporated TDG report earnings. They're not really a big company, though. But again, the FHFA director Polt says he's ready to go on Fannie and Freddie Mac IPOs if Trump wants that. Strong chance the IPOs will happen. Also not happen. HP announces fiscal outlook adjusted EPS of 290 to 320. They expect 306. Kind of neutral. Reaffirms first quarter and fiscal 2026 outlook. Enrique Lores is going to step down as president and CEO, and they appointed Bruce Gard as interim CEO. Capitulation coming in the first half quarter, maybe. Yeah, I mean, we do need some data. I'd like data, but you know how it goes. Yeah, let me know if you like this new scroller. I felt like this scroller was better than the other one we had. This one shows the actual charts and like where they're at versus like a smaller one. I just thought that was better. Let me know if you like it. I think it's better. In S&P futures, if we take a look at the SPY here, yeah, and I can just make this one big chart. Here's the SPY. So the SPY is red on the day, actually. Or no, this is PayPal, I'm sorry. SPY is actually slightly green, I believe. Yeah, SPY is slightly green at 297s. Here's the E-mini, S&P E-mini. It's at over 7,000 for S&P. So over 7,000 again for S&P. NASDAQ futures here, they're at almost 26,000. So a level I'm watching here is 26,000. I think 26,000 makes a lot of sense. Big psychological level. So just relevant to pay attention to at 26K. I just want to see if we get over that. We broke over it for a split second this morning, early this morning, and then we kind of fell back underneath it. But I'm looking at 26,000 on the NASDAQ. I want to see if that level holds. We also just have the high of the day up here at like 25s or 27s. So I think watching this 25 level, 27 level makes sense. And yeah, we'll see if we hold. Gold and silver, again, have bounced back some. Here's gold. Gold's up to almost 5,000. I'm looking at that 5,000 level up here. I think 5,000 makes sense to pay attention to psychologically. Silver, again, all the way back up to 87s right now for silver futures. 86s now, but I'm watching silver, watching the high of the day, of course. There, I'm really looking at like 90 for silver. I want to see if we can break over 90. $80 underneath might be kind of a line in the sand area, and it's right around the previous closing price, this light blue line right here as well. So that's kind of what I'm watching for gold and silver today. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, Palantir shares are up 10+% morning after beating earnings. Again, revenue's up 70+%. 70+% revenue. So that's the big thing. Fiscal year sales totaling 4.48 billion. Government revenue went up to over 570 million. Alex Karp called the results indisputably the best he's seen in tech in over a decade. They did post some guidance numbers for Palantir here. They posted 153 billion to 153.6 billion. So basically pretty in a range. Guidance fiscal year 26 revenue came projected at 7.18 to 7.2 billion. Again, this morning we've had a couple earnings, again specifically PayPal not looking great. PayPal dumping here. Time to buy PayPal, let me know. But PayPal dumping down this morning. You know, one of the things that we've seen lately is that yesterday the president said he unveiled Project Vault, which is a mineral reserve aimed at reducing U.S. supply chain dependence. He's basically looking for mining essentially what they use to create tech right now, especially in the age of AI, is lithium and other minerals. Now, we've been dependent on China for those minerals, but the president is essentially trying to make us less dependent on that. So you see a lot of like mining companies up over the last few days. Here's U.S. Rare Earths, a mining company. So a couple. Yeah, you can also see like RML here. Those are interesting to watch. The president also announced a trade agreement with India yesterday. So it cut tariffs from 25 to 18%. Some other pledges were there as well. But again, we're in the heat of earnings season. Again, Indian Trade Minister source says India is going to offer zero tariffs to the U.S., mostly on industrial goods. And that news just came out this morning. So, yeah, Palantir, guys. Crazy move here. Crazy moves. Up to 160s. If you look at a long-term chart, that big. It's right around here right now. 207s. This thing makes some ranges big. Again, PayPal missed EPS. And PayPal is down pretty significantly on this. The Fed's Moran is speaking right now. He says underlying inflation is not a problem. Needs to cut rates by about a percentage point this year, according to Fox News. But again, Fed's Moran says underlying inflation is not a problem. Needs to cut rates by about a percentage point this year. And the question is, does Warsh do that? He says, don't see a lot of strong price pressures in the economy. Again, so Moran being a dove right now. Affecting markets here. I don't think it is. I don't know. The Nasdaq's pushing up here. 26,000 is right here. I'm definitely watching 28 to see if that level holds. Palantir had the best earnings I've seen in a decade. Gold's back up for sure. Gold's up to almost 5,000 again, which it kind of needs. Gap up from 4,600s to. What's a good question for the poll today, guys? Let me list some good questions for the poll. And again, Bitcoin pretty muted again. Here's Bitcoin right here. It's pretty muted. Not doing too much. Again, Discord is set to make a an IPO this year as well. I wonder how Discord IPO is going to do. I'm not sure how well it's going to be. What good is a vault if there's no one to refine minerals? I think Bitcoin hasn't found its bottom. Where do you think the bottom in Bitcoin is? Again, here's Bitcoin right here, 78,230s. So, I mean, what did we hit the other day? We hit, yesterday we hit about 75. I think 75 makes sense. I don't know if it's the bottom though. Here's a Bitcoin daily chart. Again, we broke under 75 for a little while, but I think 75 is interesting. Psychological level too. So, got down to 74.6s. 75 here. Like a lot. Level right here. Let's see if that level continues to hold. India has some of the highest tariffs in the world. Their economy must be amazing. Okay, 40K is the bottom, 70K the bottom, 50K, 31K, 72K. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking for a good option for the poll here. Again, what's some good options for the poll? Let me know. 75,000 according to Michael Saylor. Again, Moran's still speaking right now. Moran says better growth in the future doesn't need higher interest rates. Again, the Fed's Moran says better growth in the future does not need higher interest rates. Let me know if you guys agree with him. He said long-term yields up partly on better growth expectations, and market yields haven't gone up by that much. Don't see a lot of strong price pressures in the economy. Fed needs to cut rates about a percentage point this year. That's Moran. And, let's take a look at the NASDAQ here. So we're getting close to 26,000. NASDAQ. Look, here's 26K. 26K is right here. This green level is 26,000. That's a level I'm definitely watching on my charts right now. Let's see if that level holds. Okay, how about Feds? Iran says we should cut rates by a full percentage point, which is 100 basis points this year. Do you agree with him? Start the poll with this one. Again, Moran says we should cut rates by a full percentage point, 100 basis points this year. Do you? Yes or no? Curious to see what people think here. Yeah, NASDAQ getting really close to that 26,000. I am watching 26K on the end. I want to see if that level holds. Again, Moran's still speaking right now. He said better growth in future doesn't need higher interest rates. Long-term yields are up partly on better growth expectations, and that market yields haven't gone up by that much. All right, guys. NASDAQ pulling back down again. And remember, like, yields and interest rates follow each other, and that's what Moran is referencing here. So when markets expect higher policy rates in the future, they demand a higher return to hold bonds. Han also said something interesting I saw yesterday was coin shops weren't seeing panic sellers coming in. Instead, they had people buying up like crazy on the dip regarding gold and silver. They did have some sellers coming in. So let's take a look at gold. Yeah, so they did have some sellers coming in, he says, but they had far more coming in to buy and take advantage of the price drop. Wholesalers are nearly a month behind for shipments to replace stock for the shops. Yeah, so I'm sure that market has been absolutely wild right now. I'm also looking at some other recent news in futures, but what's silver doing, or what's oil doing? Oil's a little up on the day. Oh, dude, I got bow and arrow choked yesterday, and my throat hurts now. But yeah, Brent crude is small gain on the day. There's potential negotiations between the U.S. and Iran. President said talks could start soon, and reports showed U.S. military forces moving farther away from Iran, which reduced fears of the conflict in the region and the potential scarcity worries that drove oil prices higher. President also said tariffs on India could be reduced if India stops buying Russian oil, and India has not confirmed this plan, but its imports of Russian crude have already dropped. OPEC Plus reaffirmed plans to keep production steady in March. And I did see this news earlier from Reuters. This is a Reuters report, but I did see this news earlier. Let me see if you guys can see it. Hold on. Throw it up on this. I did see this news up earlier that said Chinese commodity exchange raised margin requirements across a number of metal contracts this week. The latest move In a more than 2-month campaign by Chinese exchanges to rein in huge price swings in the assets. Chinese regulators have a long history of trying to curb sharp market swings, and the latest push follows a boom in copper, gold, silver, lithium, and other metals since that has been accompanied by regular sharp corrections. Prices for copper and tin on the Shanghai futures exchange are also down by 8%. They raised margin ratios for silver on Tuesday, while the price limits and margin ratio platinum and Shanghai Gold Exchange adjusted margin ratios for gold and silver. Several Chinese banks also issued warnings this week about precious metal market volatility and raised margin ratios. They said, quote, the market was fear of boom and bust. Again, putting up silver here. Silver's at 86.60s right now. So silver's having a really good day. We're still not where we were. Remember, silver and gold. Silver was at 120. Silver's at 120s. It's still facing a sharp decline. And so people are worried that this is going to continue. But again, what Pawn said, and Pawn, you know, used to work at a pawn shop and still knows a lot of stuff about him. So he said, I saw was coin shops weren't in panic selling mode coming in yesterday. Instead, they had people buying up like crazy on the dip. Well, yeah, they had a lot of sellers coming in. They had far more coming in to buy and take advantage of the price drop in metals. So wholesalers are nearly a month behind for shipments to replace stock. Yeah, so I asked people. Moran said they want to cut. We should cut rates by a full percentage point, 100 basis points this year. Do you agree? 67. Then say yes. Yeah. What's up, chat? Hey, good morning. Again, so the JP Morgan client treasury survey says active clients showed the fewest net longs since January 5th. So what is that, like a month ago? Fewest net longs, January 5th, according to JP Morgan. Active clients show few net longs since January 5th. Again, Moran says Fed monetary policy is too tight. In longer run would like smaller balance sheet. To get smaller balance sheet, need more regulation changes. All right, guys. So let's take a look at treasuries. All right, so here's Market Watch. They have treasuries currently sitting at about 4.285% right now. 4.285%. This is a little elevated. Could be uncertainty. We look at a 5-day move. Bonds are pretty much, they're up 0.007% 5-day period. Here's Monday right here. I got a little bit of a new layout, so I want to make sure you guys can see. Yeah, so here's bond prices. Or here's bond yields, I mean 10-year treasury yields. So again, here's Monday. We are elevated since Monday. Now remember, the government's still shut down. The government's still shut down. We'll probably get the deal done today with a resumption in the government either late tonight or tomorrow, as long as we get the votes needed here. But again, we are currently yields are currently sitting just under 4.3%. 4.3. Today we're up slight amounts. So again, if we look at the Fed watch tool, We still got 43 days still. But this was 15% yesterday in terms of expectations of a cut. Now it's only 8.9% likely that we cut rates next meeting in March. So only about 8.9%, about 91 to 9 likelihood of a pause again next FOMC. And again, just to understand yields, like we look at yields a lot, but to understand yields here, when markets expect higher policy, like higher interest rates in the future, they demand a higher return to hold bonds. So yields get marked up. So higher interest rate sentiment means higher yields. For existing bonds, coupon dollars fixed, right? So like how much it's worth is fixed. The price of the bond is fixed. So the only way to raise its yield is to match new market rates for the price to fall. I'm sorry, the price of the bond isn't fixed, but the yield is. Hold a 10-year bond paying 3%. New bonds coming at 5%. Nobody's going to pay 100 for your 3% bond when they can get 5% for new ones. And so the price of your bond drops. It's those expectations. But again, interest rates higher means yields higher, means bond prices fall. Is what it is. I might have talked over myself a little bit there, but yeah, I mean yields have been high for a while, just because markets are pricing in more restrictive Fed policy. They have been since the last FOMC meeting. Water like to be liquid. Again, look at silver. Silver's still up here. And here's the NASDAQ. NASDAQ did reject right around 26K. We didn't quite get to 26,000, but the NASDAQ rejected around 26,000 here. I realize rate cuts mean banks get fresh new money to buy whatever they want, and they'll be lucky if it trickles down. I mean, rate cuts are stimulative. The problem is that they cause more inflation. So inflation, again, I've always talked about it. I'm self-employed. So I don't like inflation. I don't think anybody really likes inflation except for maybe public companies because, but I don't like inflation, believe it or not. I don't want to see too high of inflation. At the same time, though, and this is something that you heard Jerome Powell even say in the last FOMC meeting. At a certain point, the labor market becomes the priority, right? So if we have high inflation and weak labor at a certain point, you got to say, hey, the labor market's the bigger priority, because if we do not save the labor market from continued weakness that we're seeing and be proactive about it, we enter recessions. And maybe some people would want us to enter a recession. But if we don't do that, we enter recessions or worse, and then we have to super ease to get out of it, and that's going to cause deep inflation anyway. And so at a certain point, the labor market has to be the priority here, because letting the country go into a recession and letting the labor market and unemployment spike and all these different things is going to cause super easing and in turn inflation anyway. You might as well just solve the labor problem first and then deal with inflation afterwards in most economists' minds, right? And this is not everybody. It's not like everybody agrees this, but this is how most people look at it. Again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just how most people look at it. And again, you heard Jerome Powell say a similar thing a couple weeks ago when we had the FOMC decision anyway. So, well, it's stimulative for anybody that takes out loans, but it's especially for business, especially for banks, yeah. But again, Fed Moran spoke this morning. He said monetary policy is too tight. Longer run would like smaller Fed balance sheet. To get smaller balance sheet, need more regulation changes. And again, we did have PayPal. PayPal fell heavy here. Still down here. Not really moving here, but look at PayPal, man. I did buy the dip. We're in very small for PayPal. How much is my PayPal position? My PayPal position is only $600, bro. I'm in like 20 shares. Okay, I guess that makes sense. But I can risk my little $600. Should I add a little bit more to PayPal? I guess I will here. All right. I don't know if PayPal is going to fill its gap. And again, we have some stability in the Middle East. More stability. I'm not going to say we have stability, but we have more stability. Again, Iranian diplomatic source says Tehran view regarding Istanbul talks is, quote, neither optimistic nor pessimistic. Istanbul meeting will show whether U.S., quote, intends to conduct serious and result-oriented talks. Tehran is at a maximum defensive readiness, end quote. So we'll see what how that looks. Also news, I see student loan delinquencies are going up drastically here. The number of student loan borrowers that are delinquent is up to a record $3.62 million. There's a number of federal loan recipients. It's 271 plus days past due, is now 8 times higher than pre-2020. Again, 8 times higher in regards to the number of federal loan recipients. 271 plus days past due, 8 times higher than pre-2020. There's a grace period ending in June 25th when missed payments began appearing on credit reports. And this exceeds the percentage of student loan transitioning into 90 plus days of serious delinquency is up to 14.3% at an all-time high. This exceeds 2013's peak of 10.5 and 2008 levels of 7.5, just to give you guys some context here. That's big. Again, a lot of people are talking about a student loan crisis. Yeah, 3.62 million borrowers now severely delinquent, 8 times pre. The surge follows the end of grace period. Not good. That's not good. The economy needs more new things to spur real growth and future growth. People out there are just not developing anything. New update thing remains the same statement in our question. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting market, I'll say that. Affirm is upgraded to overweight at Morgan Stanley. Price target is now 768 for Affirm here. So again, just some upgrades this morning. Affirm upgraded at Morgan Stanley. Baidu upgraded to buy at China Renaissance. 180 price target. The BIDU and upgraded. Still down though. We had some other upgrades, nothing really big though. JetBlue upgraded to neutral at Citi. JP Morgan upgraded to neutral at Baird. MasterCard upgraded to outperform at Dawa. Palantir upgraded to outperform at Baird. Again, Palantir, one of the biggest stories of the day here. 70% revenue surge. Good guidance numbers and revenue surge. Palantir's up. At this point, we're going to need a recession. I don't know. Even if inflation does go down during a recession, it doesn't stay down. So even if we do get less inflation from a recession, doesn't mean it stays down. No. Now, something we do have today, the JOLTS report is rescheduled. We were originally supposed to have JOLTS today, 10 o'clock. Again, it is delayed now. So again, as of now, the payroll report, the labor report on Friday is delayed. The JOLTS report is delayed. We do have services, ISM services data at 10 a.m. today. And remember, yesterday's data did move markets. So yesterday, we did have some swings in markets from the ISM manufacturing report that came out way stronger than expected. So ISM data showed way stronger than expected yesterday. And today we have the other half of that, the ISM services. ISM manufacturing and ISM services are different things. So today the services sector is what we're gauging here with the ISM data. Some people consider it more important anyway. AI is raising the bar on people who apply for jobs. It's all a good thing. Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to make people smarter. AI is. The Fed's Moran just said not reading a lot into metal market volatility. And here's oil. It's pushing up. Here's silver. Gold. We will be trading this. I'm looking at 5,000 though for gold. I want to see if we can break 5,000. But here's gold right here. Yeah, AMD and Supermicro earnings after the closing bell. So that'll be interesting. Too much speculation and overvaluation of hopium? Yeah, maybe. But Again, how will AMD do today? You guys think AMD will go up or down? Their earnings report. AMD's up pretty significantly here. Again, AMD at 251s right now or so. Hit 253 earlier. Had a really good day yesterday as well. So AMD, honestly, has had a really nice rebound. But if we put up like a 4-hour chart, AMD's been incredibly strong since mid last year. So AMD has made some crazy runs since mid last year. Here is June of last year's right here. We're at 107s for AMD in June. $107 a share. Currently, AMD is at $251 a share. So percentage-wise, AMD is up well over 100% just in the last 7 or 8 months. And it's made some big, crazy moves. Question is, now we have earnings today for AMD. And again, we'll see what happens. AMD will run big with solid earnings. Yeah, maybe. Again, Moran's still speaking, not reading a lot into the metal volatility. Fed monetary policy is too tight. Again, we did a poll earlier. We said, Moran said we should cut rates by a full percentage point, 100 basis points this year. Do you agree? Yeah, let me know. I can't really. I don't know. Here's the SPY. SPY has made some crazy moves. Although, SPY basically up to 700. Q. NASDAQ itself. Again, NASDAQ's getting really close to 20K. Yeah, but they yeah, sorry, I'm checking other breaking news coming out right now. There's a slowdown in Eurozone inflation as well. And again, tomorrow at the very least, we do get some jobs report. It's not the jobs report we deserve on Friday, but it's something tomorrow. We get ADP's monthly jobs report tomorrow. The ADP monthly jobs report expected at 46,000. Last time it should have been 41,000. So at least it's some jobs report tomorrow. And again, we'll see. Okay, look at gold. Really close to 5,000. Again, I'm watching PayPal here. PayPal's down substantially, down to $44 share. Again, Palantir, 70% surge in revenue last night. Good earnings reactions up to 163 right now. Wait, ISM services is tomorrow, not today, actually. No. Okay. I'm trying to figure out. Let me see what ISM services comes out. It's not government data, so it should release regardless. And again, we still should get jobless claims because the government's only partially shut down. But what's actually shut down is the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which releases CPI, it releases non-farm payrolls, and more. ISM is done by the Institute of Supply Management. We had the December report. Schedule. It's PayPal a buy. I bought a little bit. Yeah, SanDisk is another interesting story. They had a crazy beat for earnings. SanDisk got to 690s. Well, Bitcoin. Dip or rip. I don't know about Bitcoin. Again, SanDisk all the way up to almost $700 again. We talked about this yesterday, and what we said followed through, which is that SanDisk had this big earnings reaction. Gapped all the way up to 675 for SanDisk. And then pulled all the way back down. You know, And by yesterday's open, it was back up to 575s, and that I think there's a chance that we might gap fill on the upside. It had huge beats to EPS, huge beats to revenue, and more importantly, huge raises to guidance for SanDisk. This is a memory producer. Raised guidance from, like, I can't remember what the expectation was. I think it was like anywhere between $3 to $6 EPS guidance. They ended up posting $12 to $14, so way better than expected guidance. Yesterday at the opening bell, SanDisk ran currently really close to $700. It's at 690s right now, 690s for SanDisk. Again, a memory producer. Kind of crazy, honestly, kind of crazy run SanDisk. I'm not gonna say anything's a buy or sell. There might be some stuff that I buy or sell, but it doesn't mean it's a buy or sell. If that makes sense. So yeah, we might have some stuff, but yeah. So Wharton's Jeremy Siegel believes Kevin Warsh's Fed chair is good news for Wall Street. Do you guys like Warsh as a FOMC pick, chairman pick? I'm on a desktop. I'm not using a laptop for this. Again, Bitcoin, guys. A lot of people are watching Bitcoin. I'm watching 75K. I think 75K is spots here. I might buy more if we get down to 75, but here's 75. Basically, we dipped slightly underneath 75. Here's 75 right here. Right, so basically during this big back yesterday, the day before, and over the weekend, we dipped down to 75. I want to see if that level holds. Hour chart. Yeah, so again, 75,000 is my level that I'm looking at regarding Bitcoin. Tested this level a couple different times. Here's April. Recently, February, January. So I'm looking at 75,000. I want to see if Bitcoin holds over 75K. That's kind of my line in the sand here. Possibly 35K by the end of March. I think he's fine as long as he takes advice from his peers and he isn't too harsh. I hear no jobs numbers this week. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we don't have jobs numbers. They've delayed it. Again, the government should resume today or tomorrow. But still, because we've been delayed now since the weekend, even though we've only really had 2 days of government shutdown where those organizations would be open anyway, but even still, government shutdown, we are no longer getting JOLTS today. JOLTS job openings was supposed to come out at 10 a.m. today. That's no longer happening because again, JOLTS is done by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. JOLTS is done by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and because of that, because everything's shut down here, like look, here's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Again, we are no longer getting a lot of these reports one time. But I'll say we're gonna get the reports, but again, website is currently not being updated to this federal government services. Last update was Monday, February 2nd. Updates to the site will be getting again when the government basically. And again, the JOLTS report is set to drop at 10 o'clock this morning. That is no longer happening. So again, 10 o'clock this morning, we're supposed to get JOLTS. Again, that is no longer happening. Yeah, I see some people asking me about my trading setup. This is my trading setup right here. Yeah, again, we're not getting JOLTS. We're not getting jobs. No JOLTS, no jobs. I don't trust Warsh that he won't do what the president says. I don't know. I think if the president nominated him, he's probably going to do it, as at least. I mean, there's independence. So it doesn't mean he will for sure, right? But there's independence. So, like, it doesn't necessarily mean he's just not going to do whatever he wants and that he's going to go his own way. He's known as a hawk. But it's kind of mixed. Again, Barkin says rate cuts so far have helped ensure health of job market while Fed completes the last mile of returning inflation to target. So we got the Fed's barking speaking right now. Again, inflation remains above target. Expect more progress. Again, Iran spoke this morning, basically pushing for low interest rates. Again, Palantir with the crazy beat. SanDisk up to almost 700. PayPal getting slumped, down to 44s. PayPal with a big pullback here. I might buy more at PayPal. Let me see. How much do I want to buy? Let me see. I mean, honestly, I believe. Bounce a little bit. I'm going to fix my average here. It's such a small position. Like, total PayPal position's about $1,000 right now. So I can add to it and not take too much risk here. We'll see what happens. But I'm adding to my PayPal position. Don't copy me, guys. I'm not an investment professional. You know, I'm not liable if you lose money. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. Do not copy me, especially in PayPal. Don't copy me. Yeah, again, Warsh historically, like we went over this yesterday, but Warsh, the reason people don't like Warsh, and the reason it's digested as hawkish, you know, again, they say he's against crypto. Hold on, let me find. I had like a bullet point list. Get another one, but yeah, I had one yesterday. But the reason people have interpreted Warsh as being hawkish is he has a long record of warning about inflation and focusing on inflation, right? So he's focused on inflation, and again, in interest rates, their job is to maintain balance. And so if inflation ticks out of control, then they have to be restrictive to kind of squeeze the economy down a little bit. Combat inflation is the logic behind it. By raising interest rates, businesses expand a little bit less, people spend more, people spend less money. Now, interest rate decisions overall don't have most sway over inflation, and especially labor, but easing and money printing do, and vice versa. But yeah, Warsh warns about inflation risk, criticized the Fed for keeping policy too easy for too long in historical cycles. He favors high interest rates and tighter policy when inflation is above the target, which currently it is, even if that means slower growth or more market volatility. He also argued for shrinking the Fed's balance sheet and being more cautious with quantitative easing, seeing large-scale asset purchases as distorting markets and potentially fueling future inflation, which is, again, exactly what I just said about inflation. Again, QE, money printing, that can cause inflation to be worse. He emphasizes the Fed's credibility on price stability over short-term support for asset prices. So again, he's essentially saying, hey, we can deal with restrictiveness if it combats inflation and, you know, prioritizes inflation a lot over other stuff. So, and honestly, to be completely honest, that sounds like the opposite of what the president wants right now. You know, the president over the last year has been pushing low interest rates. He's calling Jerome too late and all this different stuff. So the president is honestly pushing for lower rates right now. And so again, but I again, if you want easing, I don't necessarily think Warsh is gonna go against what you want. I think for the president to appoint him over others, especially others like Kevin Hassett, a lot of people thought would be chairman, and a lot of people thought would be much more dovish as chairman. For the president to appoint him over him means he must have heard something he liked during the interview process. Again, so unless Warsh is just saying things to get appointed, which, you know, who knows, I think we're going to see a dovish Warsh. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean the FOMC is going to be dovish, because again, even with Warsh there, it's not like Warsh can make the decisions themselves. Like, there's, you know, everybody has to agree. And so Warsh is just going to be another dove in the Fed in replace of Jerome Powell, basically. All right, guys, NASDAQ's fueling higher here. NASDAQ getting up to almost 26,000. Again, it's 25,990 basically right now for the NASDAQ on the left side. Again, here's Palantir. Palantir up to 163s right now, so Palantir getting up there too. Yeah, I'm watching 26,000 right here on the NQ, and I will trade this if we get some good action here at 6,000. So I will trade this if we get some good action. But we'll trade this. Here's silver pushing up as well. So look at silver right now, guys. Okay, look at silver making some. I will trade this if we get some good action here, either the NASDAQ or silver. Silver's getting ready to break the high of the day here. So, yeah, if silver does anything. Crazy for me to try to buy this high of the day. Silver future. Micro silver, but still. Gold heading for 5,000. Like, I can scalp silver, but it's a little spready here. You know what? I'm going to try. All right, there we go. Close enough to highs where maybe I can scalp this move quick. There we go. There's 75, 85. There we go, 75, 85. There we go, 110, 130. Okay, I just made about 120 just now on that. So I'll take that. Green is good. Again, silver high of the day scalp. A little spready, but we made it work for silver. Again, I believe the NASDAQ going up there too here. Yeah, so NASDAQ, again, 26,000 just seems like a psychological level that's worth watching here. 26K. I think a lot of people are watching 26,000 right now. Yeah, we did have news earlier about SpaceX and all the stuff going on. Them. The news specifically was that SpaceX acquires XAI in a big deal. I guess it's from Yahoo Finance and Reuters. But again, SpaceX acquires XAI in a big deal. Elon said Monday that SpaceX has officially acquired. Where'd it go? Yeah. SpaceX has acquired his AI startup XAI in a record-setting deal that unifies Musk's AI and space ambitions, combining rocket and satellite with maker of Grok. First reported by Reuters last week, represents one of the most ambitious tie-ups in tech sector, combining a space and defense contract with fast-growing AI developers. Costs are largely driven by chips, data centers, and energy. It could also boost SpaceX's data center ambition. Musk rivals like Alphabet, Google, Meta, Amazon, Anthropic, OpenAI, and more. Again, here's the NASDAQ. Back up to, again, 26,000 NQ. 26,000. If it holds here. Yeah, so SpaceX now owns Twitter, basically, or Grok at least. Twitter's private, I believe, but it owns Grok. Again, Barkin says sustained inflation miss since 2021 should be taken seriously. Can inflation in the said inflation remains above target. Expect more progress. Both in job growth and spending have been narrowly focused in the economy. Slow growth in labor supply, given declining immigration and low fertility rates, is a top long-term concern. Again, earlier he said, rise in productivity suggests firms can bear higher input costs without pressure to raise prices. Firms say demand is fine and are not doing layoffs, quote, at scale. Again, he says economy remains remarkably resilient given growth, low unemployment rate. Hard to imagine either business or consumers moving to the sidelines. Here's the NASDAQ just tapped 26,000. If we take a look at silver, silver got up to 87.80s. Like I got out just in time. I am watching this high level here though. Here's 88s. But I am watching this high of the day in silver. See this pullback here. I always want to buy this dip because it's pulling back right into this previous high right here for silver. Like, look, here's the previous high right there. Yeah, look at that bounce. 200 exponential at 86.50 around right here. So I'm looking at that as well for silver to see if these levels hold. Who thinks Burry is right about the AI bubble considering all the deals? He might be right. I don't know. And silver now dipping down. Yeah, well, we're going to keep it small. Hard to trade small, though. Even one micro contract and silver. Crazy. So you got to just be careful. Let's see if this bounce happens here, though, right at this high. Right here. Silver. PayPal CFO says results are not yet where we expected them or want them to be in the conference call. He said saw pressure across retail merchant portfolio, particularly among lower and middle income consumers. Look, we did get a bounce right there at 87.40s, exactly at that level here. Look at silver start to pop. So silver's running here, testing highs of the day. We got a bounce exactly at this level. I should have bought that dip. But all right. Yeah, gold's probably sitting pretty close to $5,000 an ounce. Not moving quite as much as silver. Silver's really $5,000 an ounce way up here. Still got a little ways for gold to get up there. Silver's more interesting right now. More volatility. Silver up to 87.8. Tap this high. 87.90s now, 95s. Here's 88s right here. Silver's trying to get over $88 an ounce right now for silver futures. Fund managers are now holding the lowest cash levels on record. Timoros posted the Adobe DPI increase in January this year. Digital price index covers prices of items sold online. It rose in January by the most in its 12-year history. Oh, this might be bad for retail. Oh, Home Depot did pretty good yesterday. Yeah, look at silver, guys. Surge. Silver up to 88. Right now, 88 plus for silver. Oh, wait, today's Tuesday, but we don't have the ADP report today because we have the monthly report tomorrow for ADP. So yeah, no ADP report today. We got the monthly report tomorrow. And again, ADP is private payroll data, so even though the government shut down, yeah. Again, the ISM manufacturing PMI jumped to 52.6 in January from 47.9 in December. It was expected at 48.5 yesterday at 10 o'clock. That's the first expansion reading in about a year and the strongest since 2022, driven by a big rebound in new orders and strong production. All right, silver pulling back a little bit. Jolts is closed. It's not coming out today. Jolts is produced by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And so they're not putting anything out today considering the government shut down. Even if the government was today, Jolts is almost certainly not coming out today. It'll probably be later this week or next week. So again, Jolts is not coming out today. Government shut down, and Jolts again is BLS. Look at silver. Guys, silver's still running big here. Silver is surging. Now it's over $87. Yeah, it's over $87 an ounce right now. Really, it's over 88s for. Oh, it's now back down. It's at 87.95. So silver's still climbing. We trust that the business cycle is accelerated given yesterday's ISM manufacturing print. Yeah, I mean, today we have ISM services data, so it'll give us another look at that. Even with the government being delayed, ISM is the Institute of Supply Management, so it's coming out today regardless. Sold silver ETF, and now I'm all in copper. Hey, good luck, bro. Yeah, Pterodon, TER, is up pretty big as well here. Look at Pterodon. Up to 308 right now, 308. Look at this percent. Silver's still pushing here, though, guys. Look at silver. Still climbing. Yeah, Pterodon, just to show you, the one that's gapping up big, is a semiconductor equipment and electronics test equipment. It designs and sells test equipment, conductors, electric systems. It has robotics, industrial automation exposure as well. It's gapping up 308 right now, 308. Again, Barkin says firms say demand is fine and are not doing layoffs at scale. Expects progress on inflation, which remains above target. Yeah, silver is up to $88 an ounce for silver future. Now look at silver future, $88 an ounce. Kind of a crazy move. Still holding. Held this previous high up here. Held 87.40s right here, and it's still climbing. What do you think about rare earth stocks? I think they're interesting. I mean, we've seen some crazy moves, but I think they're still interesting. They've had some crazy swings. Rare earths, metals, but rare earths, they've had some swings. Again, spot silver over $87 an ounce, 87.80s an ounce. Barkin says inflation remains a little bit high. Silver is surging here. That. In Bitcoin, take a look. Bitcoin honestly did bounce at 87s or 80 at 75s. I mean, for Bitcoin, a little bit quieter today for Bitcoin, but again, Bitcoin's still sitting at 78s, which is better than it was, you know, at some of these low points. But I'm watching 75. I think 75 is the most thing for Bitcoin here. 75K here. I might buy it if it hits that. And Bitcoin's sitting pretty quiet. Yeah, silver's trying. AMD earnings, Supermicro Semiconductor earnings today as well here. So we do have AMD Supermicro Semiconductors. Kramer was correct about what? What was Kramer correct about? In 2025, home ownership among millennials rose to 55.4%, up from 54.9% in the year prior. So millennials buying more homes. Elon Musk also recently said regarding crypto that SpaceX might put Dogecoin on the moon next year. Take a look at Dogecoin. Here's Dogecoin right now. It's at about 10 cents. I was curious to see if this boosted, but maybe it did, but not. Dogecoin struggling. Again, UK Prime Minister Starmer said he's global repricing. People are now starting to value gold and silver with new prices. Yeah, silver's still climbing, testing highs of the day again. Look at silver. 88.2s right now. 88.2s for silver. So it's getting back up there. Yeah, I was curious to see if Elon saying that would boost Doge. It might have boosted a little bit, but it's nothing crazy. See if the silver surge continues. And here's the Nasdaq. Nasdaq rejected exactly at 26,000. Look at 26K. So checked here. Kramer's right about Bitcoin. Bouncing back. Love the new layout. This one suits better than before. Hey, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I figured I'd suit up a little bit yesterday. I was bored. But if he really does put it on the moon, it'll definitely bump it temporarily. It's just hype. Yeah, again, there's no utility in that. Like, oh, put Dogecoin on the moon. You know, there's no utility in that lately. Somebody said a gimmick. I guess that's kind of what it is. And here's silver. Guys, silver still pumping up this morning. If it continues. Yeah, we don't have any economic data, and the government is shut down as of now. Government's actually shut down as of now. Today we do have AMD Supermicro Semiconductors earnings at the close. Watching silver today. Get PayPal, Nasdaq, Palantir. Big story of the day, I would say. Palantir up 160 right now. Huge beat on earnings. This thing beat really, really well on earnings. Went up substantially. Yeah, PayPal's getting hammered here. We bought the dip though, so I mean, we'll give it some time. I believe it can bounce back. Nasdaq just hasn't been able to get over 26K. Yeah, I mean, the $26,000 level, we've been talking about that since we started the stream. And again, 26,000 psychological level. Big whole dollar number. Here's the 200 exponential right here. So if there's a dip buy, maybe that's the one to get involved with. But yeah, Nasdaq struggling to get over 26,000. Again, silver futures, if we look at it, here's silver. We made a little bit on silver futures this morning already. But silver's still filling some of the gap. You know, it's still a long ways away from where it was at 120s for silver. Here's silver right here on the right. It was at 120s. You know, so the pullback is still substantial even where we're at now, but it did fill some of this gap. Silver get back to 120s in the next 30 days. Chat, what do you guys think? Basically, does silver continue its big run or drop back down? I think at a certain point, though, silver going up too much is crazy. And if you want it to continue, and if you specifically want it to hold, you don't want it to go too wild. Because again, that's when we get big crashes. And we already saw some big crashes in silver. I mean, this is not a small move, percentage-wise. From 120s down to 70s, 40-something%. That's not a small move at all. And so if you want silver to actually hold at some of these high prices, you don't want it to go up too much. 110 max, tops in for silver, gold 6,000. Yeah, I mean, pivoting to gold here. Gold had a very similar move to silver. Very big drop. Gold went from 56 all the way 44s. Gold, very similar move to silver. It's back up to 5,000. And I think the next big level for gold specifically, it's a little bit slower today. Silver's kind of the hotter market right now, but $5,000 an ounce for gold is that level. I think that you have to pay attention to. I think most traders, most metal guys, most futures, you know, whoever you want to look at, they're probably watching $5,000 an ounce just for psychologicals. At the very least, you probably have some traders around this level. Now, you know, we can do anything. Maybe we push over this and hold support and continue up. Maybe we move up and tap it, come right back down. Either of those things is very possible. So I wouldn't commit super heavy to either side. And you kind of just got to wait and see what happens. 100 is a psychological. Yeah. I mean, $100 is a psychological level for silver. Again, the problem is that we've already tested it so much. Like, we've already broken the $100 level initially, right? If you hear me when I talk about levels, most of the time, I mean, $100 is still probably a respected level. Obviously, traders' eyes focus on it. It's a big whole dollar number. It's just a relevant psychological level, but we've already tested it, broken it, and so getting back over $100 for silver is a retest of a psychological level. So I think it's good for silver price, obviously, if we break over 100. But I also think that we don't necessarily have to break over it. You know, it's not like just because it's like a psychological level, we have to test it, we have to break it. And I think with the silver moves right now, you just want to be careful. I think we hit 110 max, then we go back down. I did a poll this morning. I said Fed's morons thinks we should cut rates by a full percentage point this year. Do you agree with him? 60% say yes, 40% say no. Mining companies, what kind of miners? Gold and silver miners? Again, look at the NASDAQ bouncing the 200 exponential, getting back up to 26,000 here. Maybe we could take some position here. Let's see if we can get over 26K. NASDAQ. We're getting close. We're getting close. Made some on silver this morning. I might buy a little dip here if we get one. Maybe down to 88s or so if we get a pullback here. I might miss out on some, but that's okay. I like to catch. I'll pull back. I might not get it. No, we don't have jolts today. Government shutdown. BLS is suspended until government. Not have jolts today. Again, we don't have the payrolls Friday either, so the labor report was pushed as well. Shorting silver is the best trade of the year. Commodities are not stocks. They mean revert. Here's 26. If we, again, I'd like a little pullback first to 980s if I can get it. Yeah, I'd like a little dip here. Let's catch it. I'm looking to buy like right around here. Get a little pullback here. So we'll see if we can catch the retest of 1,000. I don't mind scaling in if we get a little. I think some up 90s. I hope my level's not off by a little bit. We'll start small. See if we can add down. Maybe we're a little bit early. We already got a cushion today though, so we got some room. I just want to see if we move up there to test 26,000 is what I want. I just want to see if we get them up there. A little bit of a pop. Like it wants to hold. Range just kind of slowed down a lot though. PayPal CEO says e-commerce growth has been challenging in key verticals and minerals. Here's my level that I originally wanted. Let's see if I should have waited. Oh, look at that bounce. I should have probably waited for my level right here that I drew, but all right. We made it up on silver today. Yeah. Big rejection to cover. I made it up on silver today where I'm still very green today, but you don't love to see it. I probably should have waited for my my level here. Look at silver though, guys. Silver's still making moves. 88.70s. No, 88.70s. Let me catch back up on the chat. Do people understand cutting rates in current economic conditions hurts their buying power? Yeah, I mean, it causes inflation to a certain extent. We do get some inflation, but okay. We do get some inflation. I mean, yeah, obviously that erodes buying power, but government shutdown is bullish. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. So retail brothers countries pivoting from Bitcoin to gold. One thing I am happy to see is PayPal did bounce back a little bit right now. Look at PayPal. I mean, it's not bouncing back a lot, but it's better than dropping down too low. NASDAQ's still struggling here. I honestly, if I would have bought, remember guys, on the NASDAQ, I talked about buying 88s. 88s is right here. I probably should have waited. I instead bought 92 up here, and then that fell down and stopped me out. But I still think 88s would have been a better buy right here. I just didn't wait long enough for it. Definitely my fault. You guys think Palantir runs up or continues? Or do you think Palantir corrects a little bit and fills some of this gap on the downside of the open, or continues its run up? Yeah, we changed the layout a little bit. I just wanted to kind of style it up some. All right, look at the NASDAQ. I definitely should have held this little buy at 88s. All right. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Silver. Testing highs of the day again. Again, silver, guys, all the way up to 88.60s right now for silver. Homes are expensive, brother. Listen, owning a home is expensive. Taxes, I live in Texas. Taxes are not cheap. Property taxes are not cheap. They are substantial. Property tax. Yeah, property taxes are not cheap. You know, and everybody's like, oh, Texas doesn't have state income taxes. It's like, yeah, that's true. But they eat you on property tax. Now, just to give you guys some understanding here, if you own $1 million home in Texas, oh, that's 10 million. If you own $1 million home in Texas, a lot of places have property tax over 2%. So what you're paying, let's say 2.2% is pretty regular one. You're paying $22,000 a year in property tax. Just to keep that property. Every single year you're paying $22K, 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 just to keep that property. You know, you throw in HOA fees, which I'm never buying a house with an HOA. But if you throw in HOA fees, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. Disney's Bob Iger, upon transition, to continue to serve as senior advisor and member of Disney board until his retirement on December 31st. Board also intends to appoint DeMauro as director immediately following that meeting. Disney. Oh, Disney's up. I'm in Disney right now. You'll love to see it. Disney's green. Higher prices don't really benefit. Florida's the same. Oil? Yeah, we can take a look at oil. I mean, oil, I would say oil is down from its highs earlier in the week. Oil hit highs of 66 last week after tensions in Iran spiked and drove scarcity worries and the price of oil per barrel higher. It's stabilized since. A little bit more, maybe a little bit more deals to be made with Iran, stabilizing oil a little bit, bringing it back down. But it's a little elevated today. We've had some comments from Iran today that maybe have scared people a little bit. They're up some for oil. Oh yeah, no, I mean, look, property tax is just the base. I'm not even talking about all the other stuff. And again, Disney Bob Iger, upon transition, to continue to serve only until December 31st. Stephen Moran said earlier this morning, better growth in futures. In the future doesn't need higher interest rates. He said the central bank should cut interest rates by more than 1 percentage point this year, arguing policy is too tight and inflation is not a concern. He said tighter policy is unnecessary for future growth. Called for a smaller balance sheet, though. Warned that this would require regulatory changes to avoid liquidity risks. I mean, and again, Palantir, the big story of the day. NASDAQ came all the way back down, just tapped 26,000 again here 4 minutes ago. And I'm telling you, 26K psychological levels just make sense, right? Like, if you think about why technical analysis works here, like, let's look at the NASDAQ. Here's the NQ. We pull this up here. Yeah, you pull the NASDAQ up a little bit. Psychological levels just make sense, guys. And you got to learn, in terms of support and resistance, they're the end-all, be-all of levels, right? Psychological levels. We don't hit them a lot, but every now and then we'll get really close. 26,000 is one. You know, 26 or 25.5 is another one. You can use smaller ones like 100 levels if that makes sense. So you can like 25.8, 25.7, 25.6, 25.5. But again, we had this level on our chart from Ray earlier in the day, and since we've drawn this level, we've tested this level multiple different times and rejected directly off of this. So psychological levels makes and there's something that you just want to grow into the habit of watching. Speaking of psychological levels, look at Palantir. Palantir's right at 165 even. High of the day is up here though. Palantir's getting ready to maybe test highs again up here at 167s. For Palantir, it's getting close. It's up there. It's at 166 now. I'd rather say pay high property tax than state tax. Yeah, I mean, in the end, it just depends on. It's nuanced. It depends on a lot of different things. Better or worse for you. Property tax is a scam. Trust me, I'm against property tax. I just paid property tax. Property taxes. At the end of January, I just paid property tax. I am not happy about it at all. It's like property tax a lot. Yeah, and my issue with it, again, if you got some old lady that bought her house 30 years ago, that house is now worth $600,000, you know, you're gonna make that lady pay what, like $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 a year? Keep that house? Maybe not that much. Maybe it's like somebody owns a $600,000 property that she bought for $50K 30 years ago. Paying two. Yeah, 13. Oh, okay, I was right. My math was right. $13,000 in property taxes that you're paying. 13K in property tax. Top 3 greatest math skills in the world right now. Look at that. Honestly, we're getting like just to be honest, we're getting like triple taxed. You know, we're paying property tax, we're paying income tax, we're paying sales tax. One of them has to go. I would prefer income tax. If we get rid of income tax, I would happily pay my property tax. You know, I mean, I pay them anyway, but I would happily pay them if we didn't have income tax. Get rid of income tax, I'm for it. But I don't think that's ever gonna freaking happen. You know. Yeah, we have too many taxes. I've never understood the people that are like so pro-government that they're like, yeah, taxes. No. Nobody wants to pay taxes. Again, over the last few years, I paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It doesn't feel good when you do it. I mean, you kind of get a good feeling. You're like, okay, I'm contributing. But it doesn't compensate for how bad it feels to spend it. All right, all right. PayPal's still consolidating down there. All right, guys, look at the NASDAQ fall back down. We are hitting the 200 exponential moving average right now, so we are hitting the 200 EMA on the NASDAQ here. NASDAQ did tap the 200 exponential. Let's see if that holds. I don't know if it will. Again, here's the 200 exponential on the NASDAQ. We just broke underneath it. So this is kind of a big level influencing bulls to bears, I think. Look at the 200 EMA right here. See if we actually hold. There's the 200 exponential right here. We are bouncing a little bit on the NQ. NASDAQ bouncing a little bit after cracking under the 200 exponential for a second. MicroStrategy earnings February 5th. Yeah, today we got AMD and Supermicro earnings. I don't know how much those are going to affect things. I really don't. But we do have some of those today. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I mean, this one kind of cracked underneath the 200 for a little while and then pushed back, so it's still too early to say whether we actually hold here. But again, the 200 EMA, you can just look at the history behind it and see. Why is it so cold all of a sudden? House, dude. Bro, I hope I'm not getting sick. Ugh. Honestly, I got bow and arrow choked yesterday at jiu-jitsu. And so I'm hoping my throat feels a little scratchy just from that choke. You know? Like, that's what I'm hoping here. There's virtually no delay on the stream, and there's automatically a couple seconds, but every stream's a couple seconds. All right, guys. 45 minutes into the opening bell. You're a streamer? Why are you damaging the voice box? Bro, I got one of the top 3 voice boxes out there right now. You know, you walk in a room, they're like, who's got the best voice box? They're like, John, beginner trading does, for sure. So, if anything, jiu-jitsu might just make it better. The knee's good. The knee's good. Knee feels fine. It's back to how it was. Again, PayPal down significantly here. Yeah, PayPal is one that I'm not really happy with. NASDAQ still falling here. Again, I bought the dip in PayPal though. We'll see if it holds. PayPal with a sharp decline. I couldn't help buy this though. It's down so much for PayPal that it's too enticing for me. I had to buy this. Anything else looks good, let me know. But I had to buy PayPal. Yeah, the benchmark of voice boxes. That's right. You know. You know. Again, McCormick files notes offering. They didn't discuss the size, though. JP Morgan reportedly closes in on a new frontier market local currency debt index. PayPal exec says it's hard to say the exact time frame when the company will see an overall inflection point. And again, in Bitcoin. Government's closed down as well, guys. Government's closed. It'll be back open probably tomorrow. They better vote on it today and get it done. Again, here's Bitcoin though. Bitcoin, 78,000's here. Watch the 78 even just as because the whole dollar number, but doesn't mean anything it doesn't mean anything yet. Here's Bitcoin. Hey, we got the opening bell, 45 minutes. I'm in Disney, though. Disney's up a little bit on the day. You know what 2 positions have done me really well? Coca-Cola and Target. I'm in Target at $86 a share. It's at 1/10 right now. 86 a share. It's at 1/10. Again, Western Digital is adding $4 billion to buyback plan as AI boosts memory chip sales apparently. Western Digital. What is Western Digital? WDC. Yeah, look at WDC. Look at this graph for Western Digital. This thing has gone from $57 a share all the way up to 270s. Again, at the start of last year, it was at $45 a share. Now at 270s. Higher than that this morning. At 280s. At 285s for Western Digital. So the PayPal chart warms my heart. Well, I bought the dip. We'll see if it works. We'll see if we get a bullish open for PayPal. We'll see if PayPal goes green at the opening bell, I believe. Currently, I'm down in my PayPal position. Let's talk about it. I have 40 shares at an average price of 48.31. I'm still pretty underwater here. And I'm down about $200 total, which is not the most. But you don't love to see it either. It's not something that I look at my portfolio in the morning and I'm like, you know what? I believe this. Yeah, PayPal missed EPS margins. I know they missed EPS margins. We posted the numbers earlier. Some of the recent drops have happened from their appointing a different CEO. I remember his name. What is his name? It's Bruce Broussard. What a name. But yeah, essentially PayPal posted earnings this morning. What were their earnings? I'm scrolling. Hold on, let me find it. So here's this morning. PayPal posted 123. They expected 129. Revenue of 868 billion. They expected 879 expected. So they missed EPS and revenue margins for PayPal. PayPal was like, death, John? It's not a big position. No, it's not a big position. We'll be all right. Also, another company I'm in, Oracle, right now. Oracle's not looking good either. Although I'm kind of flat. I'm closer to flat in Oracle. But Oracle tumbling down as well this morning. Yeah, I mean, most of the time you can sit on these long enough and they're going to come back here. If I sit on PayPal long enough, do you guys think it'll come back? Guys, let me know. If I sit on this long enough, will it come back? Let me know. I think it will. Again, silver futures, guys. One of the big stories of the day, silver futures. Here's the NASDAQ. No? Yes, yes, no, yeah. PayPal 5-year chart is bad. I think so, but I'm a permable. I get it, bro. I'm a permable too. Strong fundamentals. We'll see. Again, we'll see. Here's silver. Silver's still climbing. $88 an ounce. Plus, almost $89 an ounce. Just tapped 89 an ounce here. Put silver, micro silver. So if I do trade it, I don't get stuck going wild here. Again, $89 an ounce for micro silver. I could have also bought this pullback maybe into this level here, but it's all right. But here's $89 an ounce for silver. Yeah, it usually does. I have sold it after entering a few times, losing every time. I wish I would have stayed longer. Yeah, I get it. People still use PayPal's. Developers use PayPal's a lot for business, for like subscriptions. The people use PayPal. Overseas companies send money through PayPal, or at least list PayPal as an option. Again, U.S. Trade Rep Greer says India agreed to reduce tariffs on U.S. exports in a CNBC interview. He said India agreed to reduce tariffs on U.S. exports. Did he say anything else? Michael Saylor just posted the rules of Bitcoin. Number 1 is buy Bitcoin. Number 2 is don't sell the Bitcoin. End quote. Michael Saylor. Again, Greenland Foreign Minister Vivian Motzfeldt said she is optimistic about reaching a diplomatic agreement with the U.S. that respects Greenland's priorities and red lines, speaking at an Arctic conference in Norway. Again, Moran says we should cut rates by over 1 point in 2026, said that central banks should cut interest rates by more than 1 percentage point, arguing policy is too tight and inflation is not a concern. He said tighter policy is unnecessary for future growth, called for a smaller balance sheet as well. Do I buy this dip in silver? Look at silver start to come back down here. Do I buy the dip? You know what? I'm going to try. Bought the dip. We're green. See if it holds. I think I gotta give it a second, but here we go. We're green. Here we go. That looks good if it holds. Yeah, it got up to 89s. I want to see if it retests 89 sometime soon, but it's small. We're already green on silver on the day as well. Oh. Probably gonna have to cut this sometimes. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut it. I took a risk. We're definitely red on the day now, but it's okay. We had already made some money. Buy the silver dip. I tried. It didn't work. Again, I probably should have waited for this level here, which is the previous support level, but that's also a pretty big pullback all of a sudden, so. I tried. Saylor will be our next president. Nah, Saylor's not. I mean, it'd be great for crypto if he was, but I don't think he's. Like I got a silver in time though, because silver is falling down. Look at this drop for silver, guys. Whoa. Silver's tumbling down here. Back down under 88s, now at 87s again. Greer says India's industrial good tariffs will go from 0 to 13.5%. And again, China urges breakthrough in G6 in quantum tech. Visa files for a 4-part undisclosed senior notes. Amex has filed for a debt offering. I probably should have shorted at this point. It's alright. We're actually pretty flat on this count. All right, guys, just for you, I'm gonna trade a combine with silver. Too tempted to buy this dip. Let's try it. There's 87.40s. Take 3 micro contracts. If we get a bounce at the 200 exponential right here. Here we go. All right, we took one of these off. Here we go. Took another one off. Yeah, we're green. If we keep getting a bounce, we're up 330, 400s. I'll take it up to that level there. We'll cut it right there. Again, Greer is still speaking. So U.S. Trade Representative Greer says stakes are enormous in tariff case. House GOP panel accuses big tech of censorship to comply with the European Union. U.S. Trade Representative Greer says Supreme Court tariffs case is, quote, not open and shut for the plaintiff. He said some other stuff about India as well. But we had the red book show up at 6.7. All right. We're going to be day trading futures today, guys. No, so we're probably not going to get a tariff ruling until February 20th at the earliest. February 20th is what it's looking like for a tariff ruling here. We're probably not going to get a tariff ruling until at least February 20th. So we still got a little time, basically. And we don't even know if we're going to get a ruling then either. So, again, we got time. Silver up to 88s. Look at everything else. NASDAQ under the 200 exponential. It's still falling down here. Let's see if it holds the volume weighted average price right here. Trying to see how much I made on that trade. Okay, I made 360 or so. All right, guys, NASDAQ coming back down here. We're at 25,960s. NASDAQ's looking weak. Silver, gold, $88. Silver, gold, NASDAQ all had a pretty big pullback here. We got 30 minutes until the opening bell. I'm trying to see when the House is going to vote today. I know they're going to vote today. They better vote today. We do have ISM services PMI data later, so in an hour we have ISM services. All right, so here's the NASDAQ actually retesting the volume weighted average price. I want to see if this level rejects it short term or if we fight back over it. And here's silver. The Clarity Act bill. House passed it, still in the Senate. Nothing new's been happening yet. All right, so the NASDAQ just creeps right back over. Here's the 200 EMA 975. It's also a psychological level, I think, at 75. And here's silver still creeping up. Silver. 200 EMA, guys. I genuinely needed to take the 200 trades when they're... Look at this level. Here's the 200 exponential. Here. Yeah, I gotta just take those 200 EMA trades when I can. Again, ISM services at 10 o'clock today. We also have regular S&P Global Services data coming out at 9:45, but it's not the big influencing one like ISM is. ISM, again, especially right now with government shutdown, I think maybe ISM is going to have more influence than normal. It's because of we're not getting JOLTS today. We're supposed to get JOLTS job opening today. So, we're supposed to get JOLTS today, and we didn't. Because the government shutdown is released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We're also supposed to get payrolls at the end of this week. We're not getting that either. So. News is a little light. Again, we had Wash. We had some other stuff happening, but news is a little quiet today. Here's the NASDAQ. Here's silver. NASDAQ. Getting close. 26,000 on the NASDAQ. So close, though. I might trade that if we can. Anything else looks good today in terms of stocks to buy? EU is going to offer U.S. critical mineral partnership to counter China, apparently. So the European Union is going to offer critical minerals partnership to counter China. United States. Robinhood, yeah, Robinhood's down a lot. I saw Robinhood yesterday. It's down a lot, but even at these levels here for Robinhood, right? So I'm not against it, but even at these levels, the PE ratio is still over. So even from dropping from where was it at, like one something? Yeah, like 120s all the way down to 90s just since the beginning of January. Its PE ratio is still over 40. It's still not necessarily a low PE ratio, right? So even at current low prices from the drop, it's still not necessarily valued in what analysts would consider good value relative to how much it earns for stocks. MicroStrategy is just going to follow Bitcoin. So a bet on MicroStrategy is basically betting that Bitcoin's going to go up. I don't know what it's going to do. Yeah, Bitcoin is too unpredictable right now. I like Bitcoin long-term, short-term, I have no idea what's going to happen. And I'm not one of those people that are just going to say good things just to say good things. And I think people get really emotional about it. But long-term, I believe in blockchain. I believe in crypto. I believe in Bitcoin. I think finite nature of it, prices are probably going to go up over time. But nobody really knows the path it's going to take to get there. And there could be some swings in both directions. I think people get really emotional, and so they only want people to say, oh, it's going to go up, up, up. Tom Lee is always like, hey, you know, Bitcoin's going to hit 300,000 by the end of the year. And I think people just say good things to say good things. But Bitcoin, crypto, it's just, there's risks right now. They're just dropping a lot. I mean, I'll probably buy the dip. I'm not telling you to buy the dip, though. Not an investment professional. Do not copy me there. I have no idea what it's going to do. Yeah, speaking of MicroStrategy, 140. So, not necessarily. Yeah, I mean, it's made a big move. Well, since 2024. IPO'd back here September at 30s, at 130s now. Still got some space, but it hit 540 last year, or in 2024. The MicroStrategy just had a tough time, tough chart. And NASDAQ and silver struggling to hold some of these gains they've made, though. NASDAQ and silver both falling back. I mean, this looks like a reasonable pullback, though, to be honest, for silver in the NASDAQ. It doesn't look crazy. You know, it looks like a somewhat reasonable of a dip. Dip that keeps dipping? Yeah. Coinbase, Oracle. I lost my Liberation Day gains to crypto. Down to buy, go long. I think the entire market is overpriced. Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly scalp, so it's all good, bro. Again, silver, guys. Again, I'm not telling you to buy it. Silver's right at that 200 exponential moving average again here. 200 EMA on silver. Again, right here. It is now dipped to that 200 exponential. Again, it's kind of a short-term retest, so I like that less. But, see. If silver holds. CoreWeave? CoreWeave had a big deal with who? Amazon? Was it Amazon that invested $2 billion into CoreWeave? Somebody invested $2 billion into CoreWeave recently, and it pushed CoreWeave much higher here. Is that CoreWeave? That was CoreWeave, right? That I'm thinking of. I'm pretty sure it is. Kind of gave back a lot of the move, though. Nvidia that invested all that big money into CoreWeave. I think I'll find it. SanDisk. Yeah, SanDisk. Again, crazy movement. China is willing to expand innovation in AI cooperation with Vietnam. Condo prices are also plunging down. Condo prices fell almost 2% year over year in November. Their 8th consecutive monthly decline follows a 1.9% drop in September and October, the biggest annual decline since 2012. 10% of condos have estimated values below their most recent sale price. Single-family home prices move up. Condo market is on a downturn. I believe it was CoreWeave. I have to scroll back down here, look at some of this, but I'm pretty sure it was CoreWeave that had to deal with, I think it was Amazon. I'll have to find it though. Yeah, SNDK making moves at 670s right now for SNDK, 670, so or 690s. We talked about this one yesterday. Memory producer. Yeah, again, they sell memory. Memory storage prices are obscenely high right now, so SanDisk is benefiting from that. So SanDisk price is up. Again, they had their earnings report. All right, I am long scalping silver here real quick. I'll give it a second. Again, that 200 exponential trade. We are kind of close to the opening bell, though. We took profit on one contract already, but I'm not going to let the second one get out of control. I hope we bounce here, though. There we go. That's a nice bounce. All right, I'm going to cut it right there. Right ahead of this 87, 80 level that we have on our chart for silver. Yeah. It was Nvidia that did the deal. Okay, yeah, I knew it was it was a big deal with Nvidia and somebody, or with CoreWeave and somebody. It was like a $2 billion deal or something like that. Is the rumors, or is the news that I heard? It was like $2 billion. Again, the EU is going to offer the US a partnership on critical minerals to counter China's influence, according to Bloomberg. Yeah, we got the bounce, the 200 EMA. Like I said, after we bounced the first time, I was like, look, you know what? I'm going to try to take this again. Doxel. That microchip ETF. Still watching news. Vaughn just sent me this. It kind of looks like me too. It kind of looks like me too. I'll give it that. Should I grow my hair like this, guys? Should I grow my hair like this? I can get an earring. My ears are still pierced from when I was like 17. I pierced my ears myself. They're still pierced. They never healed. I'll throw in a ring here, you know. I'll get an eye patch, you know. Sign me up, you know. Sign me up. Let me know. I need a parrot? Bro, I like parrots. I'll get a parrot too. I'll teach them to say trading verbiage. Long John Silver? Yeah. Distinguished? Yeah. You know. Alright, guys. Hey. We got 18 minutes left. I need a mullet. I don't know if I can do a mullet, though. I know mullets are cool again now. I refuse. Okay? I refuse. Like, I can't do it. Like, I grew up in the wake of post-90s mullet shaming. You know? I grew up in the wake of post-90s mullet shaming. Like, a mullet, when I grew up, was like, oh, no. You can't do it. You know, again, early 90s mullet was cool. Late 80s, early 90s mullet was cool. By the time I was growing up, you better not wear a mullet around. You know, everybody's going to make fun of you. Somehow it's gone all the way the other way and mullets are cool again. I don't get it. I refuse to do it. You know, Billy Ray Cyrus can keep it. And I just can't do it. No, we have the ISM Services PMI data coming out at 10 a.m. today. ISM Services. Again, 17 minutes left. 17 minutes. We'll see. All right. Again, silver still edging a little bit higher after this move, huh? Rejected again, though. Gotta put the 200 exponential. You know, I have some indicators, and again, that I've been messing around with. This one's called strict reversal. I think it honestly works pretty well. See if I can find some of the... It's been a minute since I've actually looked. I gotta get a longer term chart here. 30 days. Let's see how well it does. It doesn't repaint either. Let's find it. Silver. I mean, that did kind of work here. Look, silver. Okay, that one worked. Not a huge reversal, but we got something here. That's one. I might have done the time frame too long. I need to reset it to put a 30. Maybe do it like hard to drag. Drop this. Probably a little bit. Okay, there's one. There's another. That one worked too. Look at that. Small little scalping reverse. Worked. It's not less. And the easier way to do it would just... Problem is it doesn't show up that much. So here's some. That one worked too. Honestly, it gives you like a little 5-minute reversal every time it triggers. Going. These two didn't work, but that's all right. All the other ones. I can't remember what I have the algorithm set at that I coded this with. All right, guys, 15 minutes. Yeah, this one worked too. Honestly, doesn't look that bad. Like, there's only one of them that didn't really work over like the last 5 or 6. Keep looking. This one's kind of borderline. But you did still get a bounce back. It just wasn't big. When you got a little pop back up too. Maybe a scalping indicator. It just doesn't show up enough to really, but when it does show up, it works really well. This one's kind of borderline. I don't know if I'd say that one worked. That's only 2 that really didn't work. We'll keep looking. We'll keep looking. Maybe the Nasdaq's better. Look at the Nasdaq breakdown. Let's see what silver's doing now. Again, silver, the Nasdaq falling down a little bit. Nasdaq hitting 25,940s. 25,940s. Silver sitting at 87s here. Silver, 87s. I see signals of manufacturing boom. You'd rock a mullet, take it into the dojo. You know, intimidate. I get it. Jim Kramer says if you do the right thing and produce a certain kind of entertainment and your stock is unchanged over 10 years, you need to retool. Again, apparently the The SpaceX XAI deal lowers Tesla merger odds. So a merger between SpaceX and XAI makes it less likely that they're going to fold Tesla into a combined company anytime soon, according to Baird. All right, guys, 13 minutes left. We'll see what we get today. 13 minutes left. Yeah. Again, we're waiting here. We're waiting. Let's see what the opening bell brings. I'm going to day trade live. We'll probably day trade some gold, silver, NASDAQ, maybe. Some stocks, potentially, as well. Time to buy the NASDAQ dip, though. Again, Bitcoin tumbling down, too. Look at Bitcoin right now. So Bitcoin is falling down. It's at 78,000 here, chat. 78K for Bitcoin. Again, silver's not necessarily doing good either. And silver is now under the 200 exponential moving average now. Silver future. Look, silver under the 200 exponential here. Silver struggling. Not struggling. It's green on the day, but it's down a little bit over the last few minutes. Look at this level on the chart. So 86.50. We drove that earlier. What I'm learning is I just need to stick to some of these levels sometimes. And I need to be incredibly strict with it too. Like, my issue is that the levels will be correct. But instead of waiting for us to test it like this, I instead buy here, 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 and it just doesn't work. So I need to just be really strict with the levels. Let that work for me. How did you scroll up on the Tosh chart? What do you mean? You mean, how did I do this right here? Where, all right, look at Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin down to 78,000 right now. Hold on, I'll show you. Bitcoin, 78,000. You mean, how do I do this? You hold control while you put it here. You hold control, and then you get silver at 87s. 87s. So NASDAQ falling down here. A Bitcoin, guys. Look at Bitcoin. And there's 78K. Whole dollar number. Let's see if it holds. NASDAQ falling 25.9s. Silver falling at 87s here. PayPal's starting to bounce back up a little bit higher here. We got 9 minutes left until the opening bell, but PayPal's starting to fight its way back up. Let's see if it holds. Bitcoin bounce. Let's try to bounce. Okay, from TradingView. Software getting hammered today. Yeah, Palantir, again, the big story of the day. Pltr, 160s. 70% increase in revenue. Good numbers. Good guidance for Palantir. It's up big. Again, on the losing end, PayPal, which I did buy a bunch this morning. PayPal at 43. 43.80s for PayPal, so PayPal up a little bit short term, down overnight. And the Nasdaq's trying to bounce silver. Hold. Are you gonna buy 10 more shares? PayPal? Probably not. I'm not going to average in too much. I mean, I'm only at 40 shares, so it's not like I have like a huge PayPal position. It's like $1,000, a little bit over that in value. So my risk isn't super heavy here, but do I want to add more risk to it? Probably not. I think it could go either way. We could fill some gap at the opening bell, or it could be bad news at the opening bell. I'll show you guys the trade at the open. We'll see what happens. But All right, guys. 7 minutes. Silver's going to consolidate for some weeks, some months. That's what I'm thinking. I think that'd be the healthiest thing for silver, actually, for silver to consolidate sideways for a couple weeks. I think silver making the moves it's made. I mean, of course, traders are all jumping on the bandwagon now, and so they're wanting silver to go up. But the higher it goes short term, the bigger likelihood of a crash, you know. And so a healthy thing would just be consolidation for a while. Try to stabilize in price versus always going up, up, up. I think that's worse for it, actually. Yeah, here's the dollar today. Dollar's up again, 97s. Yeah, I don't have an affiliate link for Top Step. I haven't for months. So. All right, chat. What do we get today? Minutes. Here's the SPY today too. SPY at those things are green right now. Silver's technically green still. SPY's green. It's earnings season. Tesla at 420s. Palantir at 165s. Apple at 268s. Again, gold sitting close to 5,000 at 49s. AMD does have earnings today, so I'm curious to see what this one does. It's pretty green on the day as well. It's at 250 plus for AMD, and it does have earnings today, so we'll see what that looks like. See what the opening bell brings today. Silver went out stabilized for a while. 800,000 ounce deficit for 6 years past. Had solid state batteries. Yeah, we still have the Moran. Do you agree with Moran where he thinks we should cut rates a full percentage point, 100 basis points? Most people do. 60% of people say yes. Cut rates a full. Well, AMD beat or miss earnings today, too. That's another question. Again, here's silver. Silver at 89s to 87s. PayPal going to get into the creation of stable coins. Yeah, PayPal's still falling down, though, look. We'll see what the opening bell brings here. I'll put PayPal up. We'll watch the NASDAQ and silver as well, but here's PayPal. Again, I'm in PayPal right now. You're down in PayPal right now. We'll see what it does, though. Small position. Thinking of sitting out today. Good luck, bro. All right, opening bell in 4 minutes, guys. 4 minutes. Yeah, just again at the closing bell, we got Supermicro Semiconductors and AMD earnings, so that could cause volatility at the closing bell today. So just be aware of that today, guys. We do have some big catalysts at the closing bell today, specifically AMD and Supermicro. Supermicro probably won't cause much influence, but AMD has grown into a big stock. So it'll probably be somewhat relevant. We have 3 minutes. The opening bell, 3 minutes. $295 to $99 2 days ago for Solana. Nvidia has been struggling the last few days here. So Nvidia went over at 190s for a little while, back down under 190s yesterday. Kind of stayed down there, too. So it's struggling to get back over 190s and hold here. It did for a little while though, but it's been stagnant for months and months, to be honest. Nvidia A lot of worries about spending, circular financing, and more. I'm not saying they're right, but that's what the worries are for NVIDIA. All right, guys. Here we go. Here's the opening bell. Minutes. Silver, we're not stabilized. Lana. Yeah, just y'all be careful. Here's NVIDIA dip too. There's must be what he's talking about. It's probably the market on open causing this volatility versus NVIDIA news. Greer says Supreme Court tariff case has huge stakes. I don't think that's moving markets. New GOP leaders are still trying to wrangle the last remaining GOP hardliners for the funding package today. Leaders think they'll get there. Speaker Johnson said, we'll have the votes. Scally said they've been working through final issues. They better get the freaking votes done, man. All right, guys, we got 1 minute left. 1 minute left. Again, I'm in PayPal right now. We'll see how this affects me. I'll put this up just so we can watch my position here at the opening bell. But I'm in PayPal right now. See if it holds. Again, here's the NASDAQ on the left. Looking a little weak at the opening bell. We'll watch silver as well. We're close to highs, though. Get 45 seconds. 45 seconds. Yeah, I see the new Disney CEO, or at least isn't the current one stepping down or something soon. All right, guys, 30 seconds here. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You should catch up to the stream. We'll see if my PayPal position can get revived. And we are going to day trade futures as well at the open. We've been trading silver, the NASDAQ, and more today. So we'll see what that looks like. 20 seconds here, chat. 20 seconds. We have ISM services PMI data at 10 o'clock. All right, here's the bell. All right, here's the opening bell right now. Again, if it's delayed, hit the live button. Put it in 2x speed. There's the opening bell. All right, so I'm in PayPal. Doesn't look good necessarily. But look at the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ down at the opening bell here. 25.9s on the NQ. And the NASDAQ is down 25.9s. I'm in PayPal. I don't think I'm going to add to this, though. Look at the NASDAQ retrace back up here. What's silver doing? Silver's up to 87s again. 87.50 or so right now. Yeah, I mean, silver gold definitely green on the day here. They haven't continued the downward push they made earlier in the week and over the weekend. They're back up some. They're not where they were, obviously, but they're trying to get there. Here's silver right now. Not going to add to PayPal, though. I'm just going to stay in this. NASDAQ, honestly, pretty flat at the opening bell here. NASDAQ coming back down. NASDAQ down to 25.9s at the opening bell. 25.9s for the NASDAQ here. Again, Alphabet's pushing up. SanDisk. Take a look at SanDisk. SanDisk went up to 725 just now at the opening bell for SanDisk. SanDisk hit 725s. Palantir down a little bit, but SanDisk, man, what a move. 725s at the opening bell. The NASDAQ is still tumbling, though. The NASDAQ might go red on the day here. Red previous closing price, 25,873. We're at 25,880s right now on the NASDAQ, but it might go red on the day here. We'll see. Yeah, SanDisk back down to under 700s here, so it completely retraced. If we look at silver, silver's down a little bit since the opening bell as well. The red opened so far for a lot of different stocks. Alphabet's green though. SanDisk is green still. And here's silver. Silver's down under 87s. Here's gold. Gold's down at 49.30s here. Hey, look at PayPal. It's back up a little bit here. NASDAQ right at that previous closing price. I gotta wait 5 minutes to trade futures. We're about 3 minutes into the day. Look at the NASDAQ though, man. PayPal bouncing back a little bit though. It's looking a little bit better here. Look at the NASDAQ, guys. I'll try to buy this dip in the NASDAQ here. Right here. Still a little early. I'd rather 850. I might scale into 850s, but 12. Go. Go. Off here. Just got to scalp at the opening bell here, to be honest. I might buy back at 850 here if we get down there. So 850. Try to buy this level now. Give it a second. Looks like it wants to bounce, but it might not. That's some. I'm gonna liquidate some of this here and get out relatively flat there on the rest. Still holding a little piece here though. Maybe I shouldn't have liquidated it. Got the bounce here. That's good. Bounce level works. We're out. We made money for sure there, but get that 850 level held. Let's watch 900s, 905s right here. I think this level. I think we get back up there. I might short actually if we tap this here. Where's silver at right now? PayPal's bounced back. Let's see silver futures. Silver's flat right now, not really moving. Okay. Let me go back to day trading. Ah, dude, I wanted 900s. It got 890s. I gotta wait for it though. Yeah, I wanted it 900s, didn't quite get it. PayPal shares are down, but they're back up some more. Though. Okay, so here's 850 again. I don't know if I want to target 850 again. I might just wait. Oh, we do have ISM services PMI data today, guys. I forgot. We do have ISM services. I'm looking at Palantir. NASDAQ's a little quiet. Silver's popping back up. Palantir filling some of the gap. SanDisk again kind of went crazy. Consolidating at 695s. Alphabet. Can't type. Alphabet's down a little bit. Gave it back. AMD does have earnings today. At 250s again. NASDAQ's still flushing down here. Yeah, I mean, NVIDIA, again, a little red at the opening bell for sure. A little sticky at the opening bell for Nvidia. It's driving the NASDAQ down. Apple's down a little bit too. So, tech corrections at the open. Silver's back over 87s though. Again, we'll see if we get into some good trades on the NASDAQ here. Here's 800s below us, 775s, 800. I wanted this 900 rejection, just didn't catch it. Bitcoin is dumping? Is it really? Yeah, look at Bitcoin falling down here too, guys. So Bitcoin, 77.7s, or 78s now. Bitcoin struggled to hold. A lot of markets are red. I'll buy 800s down here too. We might actually scale into it, but we have a very large cushion on this down on the day though, so we got some room. I don't know if it's easy to make money right now. I'd like 800s. I don't know if I'm gonna get it. Silver's still pushing up though. Look at silver. So here's silver at 87.4 level in the 200 exponential right here though. It's a tighter range for silver on the day. It's not as easy to trade, and it's probably a little ready, to be honest. Oh wait, is ISM services tomorrow? I'm showing two different. Some people I'm showing it at 10 today. Maybe it's not today. Let me look at a different source. Hold on, you might be right. You know, one of my sources said it was today, but I think you're actually right. S&P Global Manufacturing. You're actually right. I think ISM services. Or we also have the JOLTS job report, so delayed today. So you're right. We don't have any economic data today. It's kind of boring. We don't have JOLTS today. JOLTS is delayed because the government shut down. JOLTS is released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The JOLTS is pushed back. So is the NFP report for Friday. This one pushed back too. So we don't have so far. We got jobless claims. But we don't have JOLTS. We don't have payrolls Friday. Unemployment Friday. I think we get 25.8s. I'll buy 25.800s if we get there, but I might not get the chance to be honest. I do see Alphabet starting to retrace back down. All right, there's 800. We're gonna enter small here though. See if we bounce. If we don't, we'll cut it. We're already very green on those, so this trade's nothing. I want to give it a chance to bounce at 800. Psychological level. Alright, that's it. We're not going to add any more. I'm going to actually unload some of this dodge just to protect it. Go. Got some of this more here. Give it a second now. Again, 800 did cause a bounce. So. I'll cut the rest right there. We made money for sure on the trade though. Yeah, again, Jolts is delayed because of the government shutdown. Unfortunately. Yeah, Jolts is not coming out at 10 o'clock today, guys. Unfortunately, it's delayed. Jolts is the BLS. BLS is shut down right now. It's one of the BEA, Bureau of Economic Analysis, is still open. So PCE inflation and other stuff. The Department of Labor is still open, so we're still getting jobless claims weekly report on Thursday, probably, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure we still get jobless claims. We still get ISM data, so I thought it was today. Some sources did have it today, but apparently it's tomorrow for ISM data. But again, Jolts report is delayed from the shutdown. So the Jolts report is not coming out from the shutdown, fortunately. Yeah, that's Jay Powell saying it. That's him right there. He's got the voice of an angel. They call him the voice of his generation. Google's still breaking down here. Look at the NASDAQ flush. Whoa. Again, House Johnson and fellow leadership is indicating that they have the votes to pass the funding package today, according to Politico's Hill report citing sources. All right, well, open the government up, dude. Ha. The songbird of his generation is what they called him. That was the joke. It's a Step Brothers quote. That's what I meant to say. Short? Honestly, I probably should have. I'm green on the day, somehow longing this red action. So somehow I'm green on the day, longing this pressure. Yeah, somehow I'm green, but I don't think I'm very green. Yeah, I just look to attack like the weak pressure. 87, 88 seems to be a level that's holding silver. I'm kind of looking to maybe buy a silver pullback, but I think it's risky. But I also think I have the cushion on the day to justify the risk. If we get down to here, I'll buy it. If we actually hold down here on silver. But I don't know if I'm going to get down here. I think we already bounced. To get AMD already this afternoon. All right, so here's a pullback in silver. Let's see if we can get it. Ah, bad fill. I don't like that fill at all, but we'll see if we bounce it. We still have some buyers stepping in here for silver. Flat right now, kind of got a little. There we go. Green. There we go. I cut it right there. We just got the bounce exactly at the bounce level we wanted. So if I stick to the bounce level, we usually work. But yeah, you'll love to see it. Green is good. Green is good. Retrace back down here. I'll buy this again. Go. Another pop in silver. I'm scalping this here too, guys. So if I cut it early, don't get mad. There we go. I'm out. Somehow I made that work. But again, we got the bounce level we wanted here. We got this level as a bounce right here in silver. So My PayPal's bouncing back a little bit. It's at $43 a share as well. But let's see if it holds. Let's see if it holds. I don't know. Yeah, tomorrow we have ISM, or no, tomorrow we have 2 reports going live. We got the bounce exactly where we wanted it right here at 87.80. So tomorrow we have 2 specific things. We have ADP jobs report 8:15, monthly jobs report at 8:15. So it's a bigger ADP report than the weekly report that we get, right? So we got an ADP jobs report again 8:15 tomorrow morning. See what happens. We'll see what happens, but that does drop. Tomorrow at 8:15. When was the last weekly report on Tuesday? It was the 27th. All right, guys, so we are bouncing a little bit here. And we're green on the day. We also have ISM services data tomorrow. I thought it was today, but apparently it's tomorrow. The government should open back up tomorrow. If we get the votes and they sign it today, we should be back open and rolling tomorrow for the government. But I'm going to get out of here. We're green on the day. I'll take the green, and I'm going to just cut out. Again, we are starting to move up, though. But again, I appreciate the love. Remember, guys, I'm not an investment professional. Subscribe, hit the opening bell. Or subscribe, and we'll be back tomorrow at the open here. Yeah, government shutdown. Hold on, let me... Remember, not an investment professional. We're not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. We'll see what happens for the rest of the day. I'm green. I've been trading since pre-market. I'm green. Green is good. I'll take it. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be safe. Again, tomorrow, 8:15, market time, jobs report going live. Be ready. Silver's still bouncing back here. Again, the NASDAQ itself, pretty red on the day. Maybe I should have shorted this 800 level like I was talking about, but it's all right. Next time. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Have a great day.